So before we get started with today's video, I wanted to mention in the last video we got a ton of comments asking why I did not use like a geotextile or a filter cloth around the pipe in this drain. We'll get into that in another video, but basically I've never had much luck with it. I don't like using it. I've seen it fail before. The filter cloth would get plugged up and not allow the water to get to the stone, but like I said, we'll talk more about that in another video. But I have installed drains just like this in the past. A good one for an example would be over at neighbor Cliff's place about 10 years ago, and it still works great to this day. So we'll talk more about that later. So welcome back everyone, Mike here. I am back down here on this little French drain project. I started this yesterday morning. Probably have about 4 or 5 hours wrapped up into it so far. I got busy with some other things yesterday afternoon, and I came back down last night for about an hour, which is what you saw on the first part of this video. Now the previous video I kind of explained everything that I'm doing, what pipe I'm using, why I'm doing all this. So if you didn't see that, you may want to check that out. But this video we're just going to kind of BS a little bit and hopefully get this finished up. I have about another 20 feet or so to dig. Where I'm going to put in the perforated pipe, and that'll get me to the next wet spot in the lawn that we had. And then after that, there's some fall to it and have no problems. I'll go to a solid pipe and I won't have to fill the trench up with stone. I went and got another load this morning. Actually 2 more loads. Yeah, I got 2 more loads of stone. So that's about 9 tons of stone total that I'll need for this. But I'm actually excited for it to rain. I love doing that, you know. When you do a little project like this, you look forward to it raining to see how it's going to work. And this is going to work fantastic. This backyard has stayed wet for a long time. Like I mentioned the other day, there was that swale in there and it worked. But over time, it just kind of stops working. You know, you get that dead grass and sediment and all that kind of stuff, and the backyard's so flat, the way it goes around has to be absolutely perfect. And I'm doing a pretty good job of staying cleaned up as I go here. Usually it's not always like that. And the stuff along the sides there, it was real wet when I put it up there, but it's drying out nicely, so I ought to be able to hit that with the like the box blade or something on the BX later this afternoon, and it'll be good to go. But something I want to talk about today is the pond. I did that video the other day talking about what kind of spillway I'm going to put in, and man, we got a ton of comments and probably, I don't even know, 100 emails. A lot of guys had some really good ideas. Now one that I'm going to rule out right now, and a lot of people suggested it, was to do like a riprap spillway. We've done them, I mean, I've done a lot of those at, you know, my real job when I used to have a real job, and they work good, but that will not work down at that pond. And I'll tell you why. There's just too much leaves and sticks and all that stuff. And what would happen is all that stuff will get tangled up in the rock, and it would end up going around it, over top of it. Wouldn't be a good thing. I already thought about that before, and I've used, you know, riprap spillways before. And at work, we used to call them, well, you'd have your spillway for something like that, but you also had level spreaders. And what those were for was slowing down water where you needed and kind of dissipating the water. And if it was out in the middle of a field or off the side of a well pad, that kind of stuff worked pretty good. But a pond in the woods, it definitely won't work. The other thing that will not work, I watched some of Chris's videos from Let's Dig. He's real good. But a lot of people said do like a box culvert with a grate over it and right into like a 15-inch pipe or something. That would work as well, somewhere that's not out in the middle of the woods, but it won't work there. At some point, when we have like a really big downpour, I need to grab myself an umbrella and go down there and just show everyone what exactly happens in that pond during a heavy rain event, especially in the fall, because you've got all those leaves from all those big oak trees, you got sticks, you got stuff washing down the stream, and if you had a catch basin with a grate over top of it, once again, it would just get plugged up. Would not work. I know it wouldn't work. So with all that being said, the way I see it, there's only two options. Number one is like a nice concrete spillway, because what I'm looking for is when those leaves and stuff pile up on the pond, you know, they'll float for a while. What I'm looking for is something that the heavy rain would wash them right out. But I talked about the concrete spillway, hard to get concrete down there. People said, you know, oh, you could mix the concrete up down there. It would take a lot of concrete and a lot of work. So the other option is just a big pipe straight through the dam. It's kind of hard to explain what I'm talking about while we're not working on it. But just a pipe, 15-inch pipe would be plenty big enough, straight through the dam, and have a clean out on it if I would have any problems with it. But I think something that big, I would not have any problems. I'm starting to bring this ditch up just a little bit because I'm starting to go downhill here, so I don't have to be as deep. We are almost on the home stretch here. As soon as I make this turn, I need, I think, one more joint of the perforated pipe in there. And after that, I'll be going to the solid pipe, which will save me a ton of time for two reasons. Number one, I don't have to get rid of all my dirt. What I've been doing is dumping behind me, pushing it ahead a little bit, and when it builds up, I bring the BX over and get rid of it. So once I go to the solid pipe, I'll be able to use this dirt for backfill. And number two is I've got to go down on the driveway there where my stone pile is to backfill this. So we'll put another 10-footer in here, see what it looks like, and then that may be it. We can just dig and install the solid pipe. But this is a really good time of year. It's the right time to do this job. This is one of those things where, you know, middle of summer, yeah, the backyard's a little bit wet. Who cares? You got a million other things going on. But you should see what this looks like in the fall or in the middle of winter, in the spring. It's a mess. And so, although I got a lot of other things I could be doing, I'll be glad to get this out of the way. And I'm telling you, like I said, when it rains, I'll be down here. I love stuff like that. Knowing you went to all this effort and it actually works and you fixed it. You know what I mean? Gives you that sense of accomplishment, I guess you could say. things are coming along. Where I ran that solid pipe in front of the shed there, I could only go maybe 8 inches deep with it, so I'm putting a little bit of fill over top of it because there's a electric line that goes to that shed. There's a light in there, and I didn't really feel like dealing with it, so I just kind of went over top of it. Next up here, while I'm down here, I'm going to pull this big stump out. I tried pulling this out before with the BX. I just kind of dug it around it a little bit, and that was before I got this excavator actually. And so I took some of the dirt from that ditch and I put up above this stump here, so when I take it out I'll have something to fill it with. But I got to be kind of careful here. There's a electric line right above me, so I'm just going to take it easy. This should come right out. It's been dead for a while. Oh yeah, it's gonna bust right up. That's that. Wasn't even a challenge. Easy peasy. Pile's kind of wet. This was some of the first dirt I dug there yesterday. Gonna kind of tamp it in here a little bit. I'll get it close and then I'll hit it with the box blade on the BX. I know I can fit underneath those wires. No problems with it. May actually have to dry out some. One of those wires is the electric. The other is the telephone, which telephone's the lower one and they don't use it anyways, but I still don't want to hit it. It's weird down here compared to up at our place. Up at our house, you dig down 6 inches, you're in that shale. Down here you dig down, you're in that clay. All right, things are moving along here. All right, things are looking good. This stuff here is still a little bit wet and clumpy, but I'm getting it. I got a buddy stopping up at the house here in a little bit, so I got to head up there. And I'll try to come back down later this evening. If not, all I have left to do is a couple more joints of pipe, grade that up down there, that pile of dirt I have. And then over here where this stump is, or stump was, I should say, I just kind of tracked it in there a little bit. I had to be careful with this power line, like I said. But I'll let this dry out and then I can hit it with the box blade and rake, seed, done.